Let to buy mortgages in the UK. Now, what are they all about? My name's Kevin Wright. I'm back with another property finance video, and this week we're going to be talking about how you convert your main residence to a buy-to-let so you can move to a different house. Sound interesting? Keep watching. Now, this is a question I get asked quite a lot actually, and it's usually from people just starting out in property. Not always, but usually. And here's the question. I want to rent out the home that I currently live in, and I want to move to a different place to live in. But I don't want to sell the house I've got. I want to keep that and move. So for the general population, when they want to move house, they sell the one they live in and buy the one they want to move into. Now, as we know, property investors don't always think like the general population. So a property investor thinks, got an asset here. Why do I want to sell that just to buy another asset? Why don't I keep the existing asset and buy a new asset to live in? Now, where people get a bit stuck on that is, well, how do you make that work? So in this week's video, we're going to drill down to look at exactly how you make that work.
Hey, have you subscribed yet? If not, click the button there. Oh, and that dingy belly thing there so you don't miss a new video every time I release one. Thank you. And follow me on Instagram too. There's the button down there. Thank you.
Now, moving out of your current main residence into somewhere different, whether you're buying it or renting it, and we'll deal with the difference in those two ways to do it later, your main residence mortgage conditions don't allow you to just start renting it out. So there are two ways you can go about this. First way is consent to let, and the second way is to remortgage. Now, consent to let is probably the simplest, but it is more restrictive. So consent to let is literally asking your lender in writing, hey, can I rent my property out? In most cases, they will give permission. Sometimes it's for a limited period, sometimes it's open-ended, but their permission is in almost all circumstances restricted to a single AST basis. In other words, you can't short-let it on Airbnb, and you can't multi-let it to multiple tenants on separate ASTs. So it is quite restrictive. Now, that may work for you, and if it does, hey, do that, go off and move to your new home, whether you're buying or renting it. Now, if it's something of a more permanent nature in terms of renting out what used to be your main residence, you may not want to go down the consent to let route with your current main residence lender. You may want to remortgage it. And if you go down the remortgage route, that's where it gets a little bit trickier. Not impossible, just trickier. And by trickier, I mean that you can't use a buy-to-let mortgage. Why not? Well, the clue is in the name, buy to let. You're buying a property to let it out, but you already own this property. So you can't buy it because you already own it. What's the get around to that? Well, it's back to front. It's a let to buy mortgage. And what does that mean? You're letting the property you already own to buy a new one to live in. So it's not a buy to let, it's a let to buy. Now, pretty much the same criteria apply, good credit, income thresholds, rent to mortgage payment ratio. The let to buy is the specific mortgage if you want to move out of the property that you've been living in and rent it out. Some restrictions still apply in terms of short letting or multi-letting, but a good broker can find you the best available deal to suit how you want to rent it out. Now, some let to buy lenders are picking others on where you're moving on to. And by that I mean, are you buying your new main residence or are you renting your new main residence? Now, some don't like the idea of you moving from a property you own to then a property you're going to rent. So they don't allow you to do that. They only want you to purchase your new main residence, not to rent your new main residence. So if for any reason you don't plan to buy your next main residence, that's going to shrink down your lender choices to a degree. Still be able to do it, but that's choice. So you're going to buy your new main residence, but there's pickiness even there, because there are some let to buy lenders that say, well, hang on, we need your let to buy mortgage and your new main residence mortgage to complete on the same day. Now that can be quite restricted, couldn't it? Other buy-to-let lenders are happy for there to be some disparity between the completion dates. So it's about getting clarity on exactly how you want this transition to happen, then using your good broker, possibly us, to find you the right let to buy lender. So there we are. That's let to buy mortgages explained. I'll be back next week with another property finance video. Catch you then.
If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30 I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.